1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air. And the gang's all here, all things on the South Side. We're listening to the Southside Pod. Looking for the best Southside breweries. Or you might just need an awesome place to eat.
Southside Pod!
Mount Greenwood, Evergreen, Blue Island, Beverly, Payless, and Allsup too. You're tuned into the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod!
Oakland, Midlothian,
Southside Pod!
Oak Forest, Chicago Ridge, Flossmoor, and Bridgeview. You're listening to Southside Pod!
Today's show is going to be a little bit of everything. Going to be a lot of fun, 30 minutes of good in a world of dumb. My name is Chris, that's Bill, that's Mike. We're going to Beverly to hang out at Cork and Kerry, talk with our friend Cramer over there. You know, he does that segment every once in a while. It is what it is. On top of that segment, though, we're going to go behind the scenes a little bit, looking at the parade from the perspective of a guy who's been on that route now for decades over at Cork and Kerry, the epicenter of what happens on Western Avenue during that huge Southside tradition. Our buddy Butch Zemar is coming down here. Remember, he spent an awful lot of time on aircraft carriers working on fighter jets. I want to get his perspective on what it takes to shoot down a balloon. And I mentioned before I was on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail recently. Well, I had a ghost experience. Neal Gibbons, a Southside ghost hunter. He runs Graveside Paranormal, giving tours all over the Southside. He's going to listen to my story along with you and let me know whether or not I had contact with an actual ghost recently. It's all brought to you by Family Waterproofing Solutions, named one of the Southland's best for multiple years in a row. They handle anything that protects your foundation, keeps water out of your basement. Family and veteran owned and operated for over a decade, and now they bring you express service. If you know what you want, you can look at the cost of the job right on the website. No surprises. Make your order and schedule it on site immediately for quick service. Or you can give them a call if you have any questions, 708-330-4466. They're your basement's best defense. See everything they have to offer and check out the new express service at familydry.com. All right, let's hit the road.
All right, I'm at Cork and Kerry on Western Avenue, 106th and Western. Cramer's here. He's been on Southside Pod before. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
How's your head?
What, from the garage door?
From the garage story I heard. From the in the basement.
This is the problem with when I talk about things that happen in my life.
No, it was great.
People make fun of me for it.
I don't LOL often, but I LOL'd on that one.
All right, so you got the parade coming up.
Yes, sir.
You're excited about this.
Oh, we're pumped.
Okay, this
Ready
is
to
like
go.
the biggest day. I've had people up and down Western that have places tell me this is a huge day.
Oh, absolutely.
For businesses up and down Western Avenue that have people in there. And you guys are packed. Last year we were in here.
Yeah.
And we were giving out a ton of stuff. We're going to be back here again this year.
Yeah,
Can't wait for it.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. And this is the epicenter, I always tell people, of the parade. If you're in here or standing in front of it,
the nucleus,
this is where you want to be for the Southside Irish Parade, right?
100%. Absolutely.
So what is that day like for you?
Let's see. Well, I get out of here probably around 5 in the morning the night before because, we literally take all the tables out and, I got to rope off the parking lot and, just it's hectic, but it's
That's right. It is wide open when you come in here. You're right. When you walk in, there isn't a table in the place.
We need all the room. And I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say what I want to say because I don't want to jinx myself. But there's a certain element we always hope is ideal. The
weather.
Okay, you said it, so I don't have to.
No, I know this.
But yes,
it's the weather. Like you want the weather to be not too warm. Because then it'll be insane, right?
The more the merrier. Let's go.
No, you're okay with that. You're okay with insanity.
100%. Right. Weather gods, yes. The warmer, the better. 100%.
All right. So the last time you were on Southside Pod, you complained about a few things that people do wrong.
100%.
And talking about things that people need to do better. A little Southside common sense with Cramer. Is there any wisdom you want to impart on people when it comes to the parade?
Bring cash. literally.
I love that cash is king here because you know what? I was just yelling about this on a previous show that I went to a brewery and they wouldn't accept anything except for a card, and I was like, "Whoa, I got a wad of cash."
It's ridiculous, you know. I mean, no one cares. So we do charge $5 at the door, and we would
$5 whole dollars, huh?
5 whole big ones, yeah. But no, hold on. We have to hold on to people's IDs, and they have to use the ATM strictly to give us the $5 because they don't have cash even to get in here.
Is it a certain age group that doesn't have cash?
I think you know the answer to your own question, but yeah.
Like I walk around.
100%,
I'm 45 years old.
Yes.
I have cash on me at all times.
Me too.
I'm not gonna brag too much. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel,
we want to do
but
this?
I have a money clip, and I keep the smallest bill on the outside because that's what a grown man does.
You know,
a child puts the biggest bill on the outside.
That's a great money clip.
Yeah, the
All you
grown
need
man
is
puts.
this, though.
Oh, look at that.
You're right, but no, it's the younger age group. But
Right.
you know, it's just the way that it is. You know, I mean, but yeah, bring cash and behave yourselves.
You probably do a lot of people watching during the parade.
It's phenomenal, PG.
Right.
People watching.
What any type of person sticks out to you the most? Is it the Kiss Me I'm Irish group that's walking around and they're dressed up to kill? Last year I had a couple of young men that were helping me out. Single men who were helping me set up and everything like that. And their jaws were on the floor because it was spring and the girls were putting on their best outfits to come in to the Southside Irish Parade.
I mean, I'm plugging myself here as a single heterosexual male. Yeah, I tend to check out the female that come in here. But no, everyone, like you said, like it's just kind of weird because like as many years as I've been doing this, especially on parade day, except those stupid COVID years and the years that they just... Like, of course, me and Bill, you know, and all of us, like the couple of years that they decided not to have it, we thought was ridiculous. But it was getting rowdy. And it's just like, I'm not blaming suburban people or anything, but it's like from 12 to 4, you won't know a soul in here. Because it's people that are just on the parade route. Then 4, like neighborhood people, they get done with their parties and then they come up here.
Wandering up to the Cork.
Yeah,
and, then you get,
and it's a good time, you know. And it's a good time from 12, you know, at the beginning. It's just different, you know, but everyone gets to have fun, tip your bartenders, and you know,
bring cash for crying out loud.
Yeah,
bring cash to the Southside Irish.
We're gonna have a great band. They're probably gonna start around 4ish.
All right. You don't know their names.
Mark Taylor. No, Mark Taylor.
All right, there we go. Okay,
you know
good.
Mark. Right? Yeah, he's real good.
All right. Before I let you go, one more question, not even related to the Southside Irish Parade, Cramer. You guys do a thing, food trucks on Friday.
Yeah.
I saw a social media post where you were asking for suggestions for food trucks. And while that's a great social media thing, get people involved, have them name food trucks you should be bringing in over the summer months, to the spring, summer, into the fall months.
Yeah.
You must have a favorite. You're here all the time. What's your food truck pick on the South Side right now?
Cheesies.
Which one?
Was it Cheesies? That grilled cheese one? Yeah.
It just does grilled cheeses?
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Why don't I have a food truck?
I'm asking the bartender. Yeah.
Really?
And it's different types. They have, you know, one with like jalapeno, and you know, then they have like chicken tenders on one. It's phenomenal. Get here for that because that's the one to go to. But everyone does well. I mean, Calabria has a real nice food truck. You know, I'll plug a Southside business here, but yeah, we all do good.
All right, that's awesome.
I got to ask, one more thing. Remember,
you got to ask me a question?
No,
you're going to ask me a question.
No, it is what it is. I got one. And, you know, now that we have the video, because I personally wore this.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You got an is what it is for me?
Yeah, I do.
All right, let's go.
People that consider pets their children drive me crazy. And so here's the thing.
I have 3 children. See, you're a single heterosexual male. You already explained this to me, right?
Yeah.
I am a married heterosexual male with 3 children.
Are they animals or the
ranging
actual
from
children?
17, real children, from 17 down to 7.
Yeah.
Okay? And they're a little bit more difficult than the
100%,
dog.
yeah.
Like, I have a dog, but the dog is a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the same as
it's
a child.
Dog. It is not a child.
I had a kid I had a kid look at me the other day and ask me whether or not heaven was real. Yeah. And I had to have an existential conversation for 2 hours with a 7-year-old. The dog doesn't ask that question. Very different.
So, you know, you're on social media. Obviously, you have to do a lot of social media, and you see an Instagram account, and it's dog mom or, you know, cat dad. It's like, come on. Like, But anyways, a backstory on that. So my brother and sister and their better halves, they have 2 small dogs, and they're just, oh, did you check on Louie? Did you check on Finn? Like, so we went out to dinner up north. My brother used to live in the West Loop, and so my sister's a nurse, so she had to work on Christmas. So we're, exchanging gifts, stuff like that. And my brother-in-law goes, did you check on Louie? Because they have like one of those cameras at their house. You can check on the dog.
Right.
So anyways, my sister goes to my brother's tree, and she's like, well, actually, come to think of it, and she just throws me this gift. And here's why I'm glad the camera's on.
Oh, this is great. All right, so if you're listening on the podcast, go to the YouTube channel to see the shirt he's going to show off. World's best dog uncle.
And these are the 2 dogs.
And there's 2 dogs on it. Somebody spent money on that.
My sister did, yeah.
That's terrible.
So I was down in Florida with Bill and my guys, and we were going to get beer, and this lady's like, oh, that's so nice of you. You must be a great uncle. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. I'm just wearing this shirt because I'm in Florida,
uncle.
man.
I'm
Yeah,
an uncle.
I'm an uncle.
I slip him a $20 bill at every party.
Yeah, right? So, yeah, no, I had to bust this shirt out, especially when I saw that you did the video.
We were doing
with
the camera.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right, see Cramer and the wonderful staff at Cork and Kerry, 106th and Western. The parade is on the 12th. Bring cash and dress up real nice, and hopefully we get some beautiful weather and act accordingly while you're out here at the Southside Irish.
Are we going to do this again? Or?
We are going to continue to do this. I like having you, my friend.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Another good interview on the Southside Pod. How come Mike and me are never invited to these things? I want to go.
Me too.
You never invite us. Maybe next time.
I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the South Side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC. Joining me on the phone right now, he's been down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar before. Neal Gibbons is a ghost hunter, I guess is the best way to say it. From Graveside Paranormal, they give tours around the South Side. He also is one of the paranormal guys on the Paranormal Guys podcast, and he's on with me right now. How are you, Neal?
I'm doing great, Chris. How are you, bud?
Good, man. I had a weird event, and I wanted to bring you on because I wanted to describe it to you, and then I wanted you to tell me whether or not I drink too much or if I really had a ghost encounter.
All right. Let's talk about it.
I don't want to waste your time, but after it happened, I was like, I have to bring Neal on the show, and I have to ask him, I want to tell him all about this, and then I want him to tell me, does that make sense?
Well, no, you know what? It's good that you do that. The reason why, Chris, is I get emails all the time. And don't get me wrong, I have to weed out who I think is, and I hate to use the term a little nuts, because I do get some, I'm like, I don't really think so. But I do get people who have serious issues. We've gone to people's homes where, they have serious issues. They just want to know an answer of what's going on. So, yeah, I don't mind you reaching out to me doing that. It's what I do. This is how I get down.
Okay. Well, here we go. And I waited to tell you the story on purpose so that you could hear it fresh just when the Southside Pod listeners are listening to it as well. So a couple of weeks ago, I went on a trip that I've done for the last couple of years down to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. Now, this time we decided to go outside of Louisville to Bardstown. We eventually made it to Frankfort, but we spent a lot of time in Bardstown, Kentucky. And the first night, I get in on the plane. We went to one distillery. I had 2 drinks probably. I was gearing up for the next day because the next day was going to be an entire day of drinking. So I know I didn't go crazy because I was purposefully getting myself geared up for 3 straight days of distilleries in the morning at 9 a.m. and ending the day late and then finding my way home. So I knew what my plan was. So we get to Bardstown. I'm the person driving everybody because I was the sober guy. we check into the old Talbot Tavern. Now, Talbot Tavern and the inn that's there, and also the inn that's next to it, which is not as old, but it is something that dates back into the 1800s. The original thing is established in 1779. So this is like the oldest bourbon bar in the country, one of the oldest taverns in the country. They list the people that stayed in this tavern. I mean, we're talking former presidents. We're talking Revolutionary War heroes. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like Jesse James was there. He shot like 6 shots into the wall at some point. And later, I did learn, after I looked this up, they've had several deaths there. They had an entire family where the dad buys the place and all the kids, all 5 of them, pass away within a year. They had a lot of people that died there, and there was a jail that was on the property at some point where they also had the gallows. So there would have been a lot of death around this place. Now, I don't know this when I first check in. Instead, I check into a place that's very quaint. I go into a room. I'm by myself because the guy who's coming to join me isn't showing up until the next day. And so he's my roommate. Everybody else has a roommate. They're in different rooms. The room has been modernized a little bit where it's got like the key card so you can hear the door as it unlocks and locks again. So I lock myself in for the night, watch a little bit of television, roll over in the bed with my back to the door, and go to sleep. Sometime around 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear the door click as if somebody's coming in the room. Now, my first instinct is one of these idiots has a key, right? They're coming in, act like a fool because they're probably drinking in the other room.
Okay.
So I turn over right away, take my phone, hit the flashlight thing, look across the room at the door. There's nothing there. I'm looking around the room like there's nobody in the room. I'm like, that's really weird. As I'm pointing the flashlight at the door, I hear the door lock itself. I actually hear the mechanism in the door lock. So I'm like, okay, that's really strange, but it's probably just broken. I don't care. And I roll back over.
Right.
About 6:30 in the morning is when the encounter happens. I'm laying in the bed, back to the door, and I wake up again to the lock. I don't roll over because I'm like, that's stupid. You're being an idiot. There's no reason for you to worry about the lock. That thing's broken. You checked it at 3 o'clock in the morning, and now all of a sudden I hear footsteps coming across the room very quickly. And I hear something breathe above me.
Oh.
And when I go to turn over, I can't. It feels like something's pushing on me, and it immediately gets really cold, like super cold. Like all of a sudden it was like somebody had turned on the air conditioner on high, and I can't move. Like I'm trying to roll, but I can't. I don't feel anything really on me. I just kind of feel like this pressure. And then I just hear this like guttural like noise that could have just been a noise or could have been something telling me to get out. And then it's like it lets go of me instantaneously. I flip over. I'm like shaking. I'm like, what the heck? I'm looking around. I take the flashlight. I shine it at the door. And as I'm looking around the room and shining at the door, I hear the door relock itself. Now, I didn't go back to bed. At this point, I get up, turn on the lights, flipped on the TV, and started getting ready for the day. And I was like, I'm not sleeping again in this room alone. Like, it just completely freaked me out. Now, later, I read that the old Talbot Tavern is actually known as being haunted, and that people have reported that at times they have been visited by a spirit that holds them down in the bed for a moment and won't let them move. Was I drunk, or did I have an encounter with a ghost?
Well, there's a thing that's called hag syndrome.
Okay.
Hag syndrome is a thing that happens to people when there is a presence in a home or whatever place you were at, where by legendary folklore is that an old hag is sitting on your chest as you sleep, and you're hearing breathing, and you're having a hard time yourself breathing, and you're struggling inside, either left or right, or just to try to get up. But no matter what, you're paralyzed.
Yeah, I was definitely paralyzed. That's for sure.
There's also a thing called sleep paralysis, which is a regular thing that does happen in the human body. It's sleep paralysis happens for people when we fall asleep and we fall into a deep sleep. So I have to give you the part of the haunted part, and then I have to give you the natural part that happens in each and every one of us, okay? So when we have dreams of like we're fighting or we're getting into a fight or a death or anything like that, so we fall into a deep sleep, almost like what you're talking about, so we don't act out physically. So we don't hit our partner in the bed or jump up and start running around like a maniac. So it's sometimes a natural thing that happens in your body called sleep paralysis. But if you're all of a sudden getting a lot of people in the same place that are saying that this is happening, it could be a thing that they call Hag syndrome. Did you feel something entering into the room, you said, right?
It felt like something walked up to me, and then it felt like something was like, as if something was just holding me down with his hands while I was laying on my side.
Right. So you're not the only one who's had symptoms like this before. I've had it myself, where I feel like something is inside the room. It enters inside the room, and you feel it coming closer to you, but you can't wake up. But then all of a sudden you start feeling pressure, and you can't move your arms or anything like that. And eventually it just ends, and you wake up, you move around, you're like, holy whatever.
Right.
I can't believe this happened. So that's either sleep paralysis, which is a natural thing inside your body, or I would go towards the Hag syndrome. The reason why is because there's something inside there that's been affecting more than just you.
Right. So what you're saying is that it's happened before, so it's possible it could happen again.
Oh, yeah.
But me going on a Wikipedia page, I can find, or like even like on their own website where they have like ghost stories from the old Talbot Inn. And I didn't look this up till afterwards. I didn't even look this up until after it was over, because I was like, I wonder if there are any ghosts in this thing. I'm looking it up afterwards, and they're describing things like that. They also described the floating pretty young lady who floats over the bed every once in a while. And I was like, how did I not get that when I was in the room by myself with my wife at home?
You know, like every guy's like, damn, why did I get that, man?
Yeah, she was in a different room that night.
What that is described as is a thing called a succubus. It's actually a demonic entity.
Oh, I don't want that done. That's amazing. There's so much here to unpack. But basically, either I imagined it because I was sleeping, or I had a ghost. That's where I'm at right now. And we're leaning towards ghost because other people have experienced the same thing there.
The only reason why I'm saying that you probably had the Hag syndrome is because of the other people that it's happened to. It sounds like to me that we definitely have an entity inside this building. You also, because the doors are unlocking and locking, that you might have an earthbound spirit or possibly a residual haunting. So I would definitely say that just from what you're telling me alone, I would walk into it with these notes saying to myself, well, this is something that is a constant, so we're going to test out certain things. So I would lean more towards, to answer your question, that there is a bigger possibility that you actually had Hag syndrome.
Neal Gibbons is a ghost hunter. You can check him out on the podcast Paranormal Guys. It's the word pair, P-A-I-R, normal guys. It's kind of a play on words, which I think is really cool. And then also a Graveside Paranormal. Check that out if you want to go on a ghost hunting tour and try out all the really cool stuff that Neal has brought in here before. We'll have to have him bring back in here again. Some of the fun little things that he does to try to find out whether or not there's a spirit there. The one thing he won't bring into the house, though, is he won't bring in the thing that talks to spirits, because he doesn't want to do that in my home. And I appreciate that, Neal. I really do.
I don't want to. I don't want to take the chance of something weird.
I don't want. Look, if there's something walking around in here, I don't want to know, Neal. I just don't.
Yeah, right. Yep, you're exactly right.
If you've been injured at work, then you need someone who will fight for the care and compensation you deserve. The insurance companies will look out for themselves and their bottom lines, not you. I'm Matthew Coleman, partner and head of the work injury department at the law offices of Parenti and Norm. My team and I have the experience, dedication, and proven results it takes to fight for your rights. Call or text me today at 312-641-5926 or visit us on the web at pninjurylaw.com.
Butch Zemar's back down here, my good friend. He's got a podcast on the Broadcast Basement On Demand Radio Network, the Zemar Podcast. He talks insurance. I know that gets the blood going, but he also does tell stories about his time on aircraft carriers and scuba diving and coaching hockey and just all this. Do you ref hockey too?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Considered it.
You saw this thing with the balloons, right? And then all of a sudden we got our military shooting down balloons. After they shoot down the one that's over the Atlantic, that's the Chinese spy balloon. But then they go and they shoot down some other ones. It comes out that they're shooting them down with missiles. And people immediately are like, whoa, hold on a second. Don't we have machine guns on these things? I've seen Top Gun. And these missiles are like $400,000. and people get all whipped up. Now, you used to work on fighter jets. That's what you used to do, right?
That's correct.
All right. So is it really that big of a deal that they used a missile?
The quick answer is no, because they're constantly being made and they're constantly being trained, and so they use missiles in open fields. They for target practice.
They're shooting them for target practice, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. My dad was on the phone. He was like, "You believe this? You believe this?" They fired off a $400,000. He got himself all whipped up reading about this, right? They fired off a $400,000 missile. Don't they have machine guns on these things?
Yeah.
Like what the heck? Just like, it's a balloon, right? What are we using a $400,000 missile for? Like, he's fired up. Like, somebody's taking $400,000 out of his bank account.
And rightly so, it's taxpayer dollars. But just to add to it is there's a procedure for everything in the military. Everything is spelled out, even how to brush your teeth.
If you're shooting something down, you go to missiles.
That's my guess. And
why a heat seeker, though? They missed on the first one, right? So they miss on the balloon, and they're like, because we fired a heat-seeking sidewinder. And I'm like, at a balloon? Like, that seems stupid to me. And then they fired the other one. So really it was $800,000 of missiles.
It's really hard to say, but my assumption is they were making assumptions on the balloon, and so therefore they felt that they were
assuming the balloon was giving off some
heat.
The
flip side is the oxymoron that everything's state of the art in the military, right? They were probably they could have been just winging it too, which happens. It happens more often than you think. Then they go back and rewrite the book and say, this didn't work, and here's why, and this is how we do it, including brushing your teeth before you get in the cockpit.
Well, I think one of the funnier things was that I saw, like, just this week, I saw that the pilot who shot the balloon down took a selfie flying past the balloon. Like, the whole country's in a tizzy, and this kid's up there and he's taking a selfie going like Mach 3 by a balloon before he shoots it down with a missile. Like, he had his best day ever is what that guy did, right? He got back like after something happens. Were you wartime on the aircraft carrier or no?
No, I got out right before the war started.
Any kind of like missions though that they would come back from and everybody be kind of pumped up, or everything was routine?
Everything was routine, yeah.
So there was never a point where like they come home, because I was wondering, like, do you ever get that moment where, like, you know, Tom Cruise gets out of the plane and he hugs you because you worked on the plane? Because that's what all those guys were standing there. Like, there's the pilot, and then there's the 1,500 guys that actually got the pilot up in the air and landed him again, right?
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I was wondering if you ever got to be like part of the, like, yeah, I'm imagining massive celebration after the balloon was shot down, drinks, partying, girls, everybody's excited. Meanwhile, the press runs with the $400,000 missile story.
I was going to say they're still human, right? And so they're probably listening to this podcast right now, even though they're in the middle of the ocean somewhere.
Right. I shot the hell out of that balloon. Like, right?
They are human, right? And I tell you that not everybody could fly a jet in general, but then to be a fighter pilot on top of it to do that kind of thing, you know, like some of them are straight shooters, and then other ones are like your listeners, right? They like to have fun. They're loose. They like beer. They like craft beer. And so, like, there's a lot of good things about the people that are there.
I think that the military misses out sometimes on, like, good promotion, right? So when they shot down the little balloons, like the one that was over Lake Huron, it sounds like it was like a weather enthusiast group from Illinois got like a balloon kit and launched this thing. This thing had to be the smallest balloon ever. Like, the fact that not only was it picked up, and it was picked up because, like, they started looking for slower things after the Chinese spy balloon. So not only was it picked up, but somebody shot something out of the sky that was probably smaller than the missile that he fired. Because that's a hell of a shot to hit, like, a tiny little balloon with a missile, right?
100%. I agree. Yeah, they need to do more promotion on the good stuff, because you're going to recruit. That's why Top Gun back in the 80s did a good job for recruiting. And then they probably should use this as a little recruiting ad and had a little fun shooting a balloon.
Join the Navy, shoot down balloons.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun to me.
Sounds like a blast.
Wrapping up the show with the Southside Bulletin Board, brought to you by Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Quitting smoking is hard, and Cool Clouds wants to give you an alternative. Full Taster Bar, amazing CBD products, and they are in their new location now, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. See all they have to offer at coolcloudsvapor.com. So over the winter, a lot of the artisanal markets went away. Little hibernation. Well, spring is here, and they're back. Flipside Brewing is hosting the first one in Tinley Park. It's going to be on the 19th of March from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. 7144 183rd Street in Tinley. beers, burgers, and a big bazaar. We're talking home decor, local art, jewelry, self-care, one-of-a-kind items that artists and makers bring to this bazaar. Plus, you got craft beer, you got good food. Sip, shop, eat, drink, splurge, do some shots, chill, and support some local artists. Mark your calendars for the 19th of March. Tinley Park has a lot going on when it comes to breweries. Hailstorm Brewing this weekend has Mark Taylor playing live Friday night, 6 p.m. Free show, no cover, 6 to 9, kitchens open, all ages. A working brewery with a great tap room and incredible beer hall. Go out and have some fun in Tinley. Or you can go to Crestwood, 9 p.m. until 1 in the morning in the wee hours. Meltdown will be at the Thirsty Beaver, 5599 127th Street in Crestwood. On Saturday in Blue Island, Shadooby will be at the Lyric Theater. That is a classic rock band. What I like about them the most is that not only do they have your basic instruments for a classic rock band, they also have a blues harp in the band. I may be there when doors open at 7:30 just to see what a blues harp is. If you have anything for the Southside Bulletin Board, reach out to us. You can contact us through the form or the voicemail option at southsidepod.com. Our look ahead to the next program brought to you by sidsauce.net, small batch flavor pack sauces. They are developed right here on the South Side with peppers grown on the South Side. There is a different heat and a different flavor for every type of food you can think of. The only place I get my hot sauces, and pretty much all of you listening can get them delivered for free to your door. Get more information and check out all the sauces at sidsauce.net. We got a message on the contact form this week from the mayor of one of these Southside villages, towns, however you would describe it, asking why Southside Pod has not been to his place very often. So we will have that mayor talking about his town on this show because he's a big Southside Pod fan. And if you're the mayor of a town, you're pretty much getting a microphone whenever you want it around here. And that's big listenership. Find out who it was that wants more Southside Pod in their town on the next episode of Southside Pod. Subscribe anywhere podcasts can be found and always at southsidepod.com.
It's the Southside! It's the Southside! It's Southside Pod! Thanks for listening! Thanks for tuning in to the Southside Pod! Y'all come back now, you hear?